Welcome to The Extra Mile. Thanks for being paid subscribers. Can't thank you enough for that. You've stuck with me through a couple moves now, in fact, and still going strong. Do spread the word for folks who are wanting to support this ministry and the various things that we're attempting to do. You make it all possible, and we're putting out a lot of content now. I'm excited about it. I've got the book that I've been working on for almost 3 years now that we're in the final stages, and well, we're in the final stages, and it's been a long road, but I had to rewrite some of it and revise some of it, gone through the editing process, and I can't wait to bring it to you just on, my best take on Christian cultural engagement and the way that we really make a difference. The very first book I ever wrote, I was very young. It was out of college just a few years and was doing the radio show. I called it 78, How Christians Can Save America. And by the way, a lot of the things that I said in there, I still believe those things. I don't necessarily like the way I said some of it. But in terms of, and I even think that my 20-some-year-old self really in my heart knew, because I said a reformation of the church has to happen before anything else. But you can still see the political idolatry in it, that this gets accomplished. Yeah, we take care of the church, but then we fix things in society. We fix things in the culture. And anyway, I've been really anxious to get this thing put together, and things have stood in the way of it for some time, but folks have invested and made it possible, and I'm excited. It's coming up. But do spread the word. We want to continue to put that stuff out and need you all to be part of what we're doing. So here's something that this is what prompted this. Okay, I'm going to put it on the screen so that you can see it. It's a meme that was spread, and it somehow somebody that I follow had retweeted it or whatever. I don't even know what it's called now since it's X and not Twitter. But this is what the meme was. You have a picture here, and if you're not watching it, I'll have to describe it to you. Some of you listen to the Mile instead of watching it. But it's a picture of the stupid show, The Handmaid's Tale or whatever it is, that was used as a battle axe against Mike Pence and anybody who has conservative Christian values in the public square. Well, you want women wearing these long prairie dresses and bonnets, and you want them wrapped head to toe. And so this is what the meme says. Why are people using examples from fiction for the, quote, war on women? And then you look in the frame below, and it's a picture of an Islamic society with the words, when we have real life examples. Now, whoever put that together obviously is a brave person, because insulting Islam, just like insulting the Prophet Muhammad, that can cause a person a great deal of harm. But at some point, I think it's important to drag into the daylight a truth that our culture has been working overtime to ignore. And I think it's been working overtime to ignore it beginning in the days immediately after 9/11. And one of the guys that I voted for, and one of the guys that I supported, and one of the guys that I loved and still really have an affinity and a personal affection towards, I don't know him, but I think he's a very amiable, genial dude, in George W. Bush. He was one of the first ones that stepped forward and called Islam a religion of peace. But here is a very uncomfortable truth. Islamic political ideology, that's not just another flavor of religious expression. Islamic political ideology, and this is the best way I can say it, is fundamentally, meaning at its core, it is not compatible with the expectations of a free society. It is incompatible with Americanism. Now, does that mean that America can't be kind to people of the Muslim faith? Of course, that's not what that means. Does that mean that Muslims are not afforded their basic rights in America? That's not at all what that means. What it means is that Islamic ideology, political ideology, taught in Islamic schools and taught in their mosques, it is incompatible with the foundations of free society. And that's not bigotry. It's simple reality. It's simply analyzing the two systems. I understand that we have gone through years now of American media and American entertainment and American politicians tying themselves in knots to try to invent Christian theocracies that are supposedly lurking in every corner. You got women who are being forced into these prairie dresses by a bunch of patriarchal preachers like Mike Pence. And you've got shadowy conversion therapy dungeons that Mike Pence is running. And you've got book bans on every book that wasn't written by C.S. Lewis. And Mike Pence is probably pushing them. We create these fictional universes that we watch on television of the looming Christian oppression because it will give a politician and an activist a convenient villain. Christians aren't going to come after you for that. But meanwhile, the very abuses that those things are warning everybody about, forcing females into your standards of modesty, criminalizing homosexuality, violently suppressing any dissent, all of those things are what these fictionalized accounts of Christianity and Christian theocracy are, and Christian nationalism. Those very things are commanded in the doctrines of political Islam. They are enforced in nations that take that doctrine seriously. But the moment you call attention to that, it gets you labeled Islamophobic. And that, by the way, that term, just like most every other insult label that is hurled around, it's become so elastic, it's become so applied to so many different things. You're Islamophobic if you've read a history book. That's kind of where we are now. I want to show you a clip here that may blow your mind. This is Bill Maher. Bill Maher back in 2014. Bill Maher is an atheist. He's an outspoken atheist. He did an entire movie that mocked religion and didn't just focus on Islam. He mocked Christianity, went to the Holy Land experience in Orlando, which I don't think is still a thing. Maybe it is. But and just made a mockery of Christianity. He is no card-carrying member of the religious right, but he cut through the fog a decade ago when he was on with Charlie Rose, accurately explaining there are widespread, deeply entrenched, illiberal beliefs that are held in the Islamic world that simply are not duplicated by Christianity or Hinduism or Buddhism or any other major religion. Take a look at this.
There are illiberal beliefs that are held by vast numbers of Muslim people that I don't think...
Vast number of Christians, too.
No, that's not true. Not true. Vast numbers of Christians do not believe that if you leave the Christian religion, you should be killed for it. Vast numbers of Christians do not treat women as second-class citizens. Vast numbers of Christians
I agree with that.
do not believe that if you draw a picture of Jesus Christ, you should get killed for it. Most Muslim people in the world do condone violence just for what you think. They do. First of all, they say it. They shout it from the...
Vast majorities of Muslims
Absolutely.
say that?
There's a Pew poll of Egypt done a few years ago. 82%, I think it was, said stoning is the appropriate punishment for adultery. Over 80% thought death was the appropriate punishment for leaving the Muslim religion. I'm sure you know these things.
I know. I do.
So
but
to claim that this religion
believe...
is like other religions is just naive and plain wrong. It is not like other religions. New York Times pointed out in an op-ed a couple of weeks ago that in Saudi Arabia, just since August 4th, I think it was, they have beheaded 19 people. Most for non-violent crimes, including homosexuality.
They didn't cut the hands off the thief.
Right. Okay, so we're upset that ISIS is beheading people, which we should be upset about. But Saudi Arabia does it, and they're our good friends because they have oil.
Right.
Okay? But they do it too. This is the center of the religion. But, I mean, in Mecca, where infidels, non-Muslims, are not even allowed in the holy parts of the city. I mean, right there, we don't have that example in other religions. Okay, they do behead people. Now, if they were beheading people in Vatican City, which is the equivalent of Mecca don't you think there'd be a bigger outcry about it? So this is the soft bigotry of low expectations that we have with Muslim people.
Yeah.
When they do crazy things and believe crazy things, somehow it's just not talked about nearly as much.
All right, and that's the quiet part, being said out loud. It's not like other religions. It's not. Nobody in their right mind who's read a history book would deny that Christianity has had some dark chapters in its history. But also, anyone that has read a history book, anybody that has even the slightest understanding of reading comprehension, who has even been remotely introduced to basic theology, knows that the teachings of Jesus do not command violence. They do not mandate coercion. They do not require the suppression of human freedom in order to survive. But Islam has a political and a legal arm called Sharia that when you take it seriously, it necessarily constrains freedom of speech and freedom of conscience and freedom of religion, the equality of men and women, all of those things. So if you are a society that embraces the ideals of Islam, if you are a community that embraces those ideals, you are necessarily bound to restrain freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, all those things that are constitutionally protected rights. That's why I said what I said to begin with, that it is fundamentally incompatible with the expectations of a free society. It is. A healthy society has to be able to uphold two ideas at once. Here's idea number one, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this. Idea number one is Muslims deserve full civil rights, full dignity, full legal protection as individuals. That's principle number one. Here's principle number two, that a healthy society has to be able to understand. Number two, Islamist ideology is dangerous, it is anti-liberty, and it is incompatible with Western civilization. If you can see that differently, if you can explain that to me in a different way, I would be more than happy to hear. Might even be thrilled to hear it with the spread of, in some degree, of Islam in various communities around the United States. Our leaders right now, with a few exceptions, lack the courage to tell even the most obvious truths, and this is one of them. And the danger is if we don't tell that truth, well, where does this story end? PeterHeck.com. That's Peter@PeterHeck.com. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, that, or anything else. Also, check our commentary that's coming tomorrow. Spread the word about Dashboard Jesus daily. Check dashboardjesus.net. And I'll see you again real soon. Thanks again for being a paid subscriber. Bye-bye.